Welcome to another week of Yasashi Namda Games. Now I know I'm a little bit a week off and posting some deals, so I'm gonna be catching up on some things, and you'll probably see a couple videos for next week. So we'll try to get back to regular scheduling. Um, this week we're gonna do a deck profile. I know in my introduction video I said I would do these during the weekends, like Saturday and Sunday, but for those who are waiting to see this from last weekend, I'm gonna make it up to y'all. So here we go. Now the deck I'm gonna showcase is Kaguya Tears of the Moon. Now first I need to say this is for Force of Will. So anyone else playing Madden that would think this Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, no, this is Force of Will. So if you're into Force of Will, you can come here. Or if you're curious about it, this is the video for you, and I'm gonna show the deck. So the ruler again is Kaguya Tears of the Moon. She's a water green ruler. Look at that full art, nice though. But she's a full art, and she is, I believe, a wizard. So she's a J ruler. She's a ruler wizard. Now she has a judgment of 0, but we can only play that when we put a treasure item onto the field. I'll get to what treasure items are, but basically her judgment is free and she flips over to the other side. She energizes for a blue wind and water energized token, which if you the second player you get it, and you can use that any time in the game, but once you use it you don't get it back. And she has an automatic ability, so once per turn and only that turn you can reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a treasure item, you add it to your hand. If it's not, it just goes back to where it's at. So that's her ruler side. So let's say we judgment flip her over. We get Kaguya, the Millennium Princess. She becomes a J ruler, Moon Princess. So she has 5 abilities. She has 5 abilities and 1 automatic ability that when she comes out the field. So if we have 3 treasure items, she automatically gets barrier. For anyone who wants to know what barrier is, basically if your card or cannot be targeted by a resonator or ruler or a spell chance. So she can't be targeted by card effects, basically what that means. But you have to have 3 treasure items. So usually when we flip over, we want to have at least 3 or more treasure items on the field. Her first effect is you can rest 1 treasure item, do minus 100 to a resonator. So this deck is kind of the way it works. It's a control deck. You want to make sure that when you have your opponent trying to attack you that we made their shit weak as fuck and make our shit like kill they shit, or basically take no damage. Mitch. So we never lose cards, or our opponent could lose cards, or basically we don't have to worry about ever taking no damage. Her second effect is you can rest 2 and you can produce a green or blue wheel. Some people think that second effect isn't really good, but sometimes it's helpful when you need to use some of your spells or quick spells during your opponent turn, quick cast spells. So it's decent in my opinion. We can rest 3 and we can draw a card, which people again in the Force Will community say that's probably her best effect. We can rest 4 and we can bounce a resonator from our opponent's side of the field back to their hand. Or we can pay 5 and we can make her a 15-15 flyer. So 1500 attack, 1500 defense, and a flyer. But you don't want to do that because there's ways she can get killed and stuff. And if she dies, she goes back to the ruler. So we kind of don't ever want to put her in that situation. But the first 4 effects is where it's at. Now, as you notice, she doesn't have any like defense or attack. So you're probably wondering, well, how besides maybe killing her with spells or effects, can she die in battle? No, rulers like this can't be targeted for attack because they don't have attack or defense. That also means when they're arrested, they can't be attacked to. So basically, she's safe, is the point. But that's our ruler. Now let's get to the Magic Stone deck. Now we run 10 Magic Stones here, and I'll explain what they're used for and what's the idea around them. We run 4 Kaguya Stone of Sorrow. If when it counts as a wind and water magic stone, when it comes to the field, if our ruler is not Kaguya Tears of the Moon or Kaguya Millennium Princess, we rest this, or we can pay 300. But because it is, we don't have to worry about all of that. So it'll come in recovered. We can tap to produce blue or water. I mean blue and green. And basically the main effect in which makes this really good stone is we can, when it comes to the field, we look at the two top cards on our top of the deck, and then we can put them in any order. So it combos really well with Kaguya, Millennium, Kaguya Tears of the Moon with her effect. So what we do is if we see one of the cards of the treasure item, we put that on top and put the other one at the bottom, then use her effect to look at the top card of her deck and then add it. So basically that's just guarantee hand advantage, basically. So we run 4 of those. Then we run 3 magic stones of gusting skies. It counts as a wind and light magic stone, and it just produces light and wind. So we have that, and then we run 3 magic stones of vapors. It produces water and light. So we run light cards, green and blue cards. We don't run too many light, so but we do run enough where we kind of need it. So the way this should work is you should have 6 wind, 7 water, 6 light, right? And that will balance it out. So no matter the situation, you'll always have a water and a green, or a water, green, and light, or a green and a water. It should always work that out. You should always have some, like one of these out, so that way you cover your bases basically. So we run those, and this is pretty good in my opinion. So that's it for the magic stones. Now let's go into the resonators. Okay, so we run 4 Birds of Artesia. It's a 1 cost, 100, 100, so 100 attack, 100 defense. It has flying, inheritance. Its inheritance ability is you can discard it, pay green, discard it, and draw a card. Pretty good effect if you want to keep hand advantage. And its other effect is when it's on the field and it gets removed from the field to any, it just gets removed from the field in general. So if it gets bounced back or removed, you draw a card. So this is really good because even if your opponent kills it off with with burn effect, or you use it to block, it basically replaces itself. And it's a flyer, which is pretty good because there's some of the best cards in Force of Will are the flyers, because there's not too many things that can block flying. It's like Magic the Gathering for anyone who's played that, or Pokemon. So we run 4 of those. Now we get into one of the win conditions of this deck, which basically kills the opponent. We run 2 Kaguya Lunar Researcher. She's a 3 cost, 1 green, 1 light, 1 void, 700 attack, 800 defense. She's a flyer, and basically what she says is, her first part of it, her text is, if you have a moon, she becomes 1 less. So basically the void disappears and she becomes a 2 cost. And you'll notice a lot of the cards here mainly are going to be 2s and 1s in the deck. Her second effect is every time this card is bestowed to her, she recovers. So I'll probably explain as at the end of the deck profile, and I'll show you some of the combos with her. But we run 2 of her. We then run 1 Alice, the Girl of the Blue Planet. She's a 2 cost, 2 blue. She's a 500 attack, 800 defense. She's a Will of Hope. That doesn't really matter. And she's a flyer. Basically, before you get to her, you unseal her, where basically you have 4 magic stones. She's basically a vanilla. So you never want to play her if you don't have 4 magic stones. But when you do have 4 magic stones, you can summon her, and basically it says her god basically says she has a 0 cost god art. It basically says that if your opponent was to play a resonator, a chant, whatever, we can god art for 0 and basically be like, no. So we could say for instance, let's say they summon Kaguya. We can name the card via our target is Kaguya Lunar Researcher. So basically when she comes to the field, her effect can't be activated. So it basically fizzles it out. But really you would use this for more spell chants. So if they try to use a spell on you to try to like maybe kill your ruler or one of your resonators, it basically just nullifies that effect. So it just fizzles it out. So you always want to chain it. So so she'll become second. Again, the card will become like first, and the way it goes from last to first. So basically, she would resolve first, which would then fizzle out the other card. And then after that, neither player can play that card. So you have to be careful. For us, we don't run hopefully not too many people run the same cards as we do, so you don't have to worry about that. But it's just really easy. It's just an easy way to just nullify your opponent's like card effect. So if they want to try to use their cards again, they're gonna have to kill her. But the thing is, with God Art abilities, you can only use it once that game. So you can't, like, if they bounce it and then you try to summon it, and once you use the God Art the first time, it's just done. But we just basically use her to basically make sure that our opponent, don't get what they want going. Okay, so let's go to the first set of treasure items, which is a resonator. We run two glistening checks. One is they're cost 2, wind in the green. Wind in the blue. They're 500, so 500 attack, 500 defense. They're flying, and basically what this card says, whenever this card becomes rested, you may rest another target or another resonator. So basically, what you want to do, if your opponent attacks you, you would block their attack. Once the block confirmed, then its second effect would kick in, where when it's rested, because blocking is considered resting, then you can rest another resident. So if your opponent has 2 cards, let's say they try to hit you with the weaker one to try to make you block, you can basically block that and then rest the other resonator. So basically you make it so they never get any actual damage into you. And it's a treasure item, so yes, Kaguya, if you was the top, look with her ability, look at the top card and this was on it, you could add it to your hand. It does count as a treasure item. So we run 2 of those. And then we'll get into our next card. We're gonna go with Sorcerer of the Heavenly Wind, Melfi. So she's a 2 cost, 1 green, 1 void. She has 300 attack, 600 defense, and she's a quick cast. Now, as you can see, a lot of these cards don't have this lightning symbol, and they don't say quick, because it means you can only play those cards during your turn. With quick cast cards, you can play during your opponent's turn. And basically, the way her effect works is, during your opponent's turn, let's say, or during your turn, but let's say on your opponent's turn, let's say you have, for instance, let's say you have Kaguya. You can basically, if you have 2 will up, a green and whatever, you can basically cast her in. You can say that resonator there doesn't do damage. So if let's say your Kaguya was rested and they attacked into the Kaguya to kill it, you can basically say that resonator can't do no damage this turn. So basically anything it does to this card doesn't do nothing, because it can't do no damage to you, to the card. So it's basically just to make sure you protect your resonators. Basically, it's how to put, or protect your life, because if you don't have a resonator but you still use this effect to make it so the opponent monster doesn't do no damage this turn, even if they attack you, which you don't lose no actual damage from it. So it's a pretty good way to basically make sure your opponent can't kill off certain key resonators, or they kill you off. Her second effect is if she has a torrent, which if you basically, it says if you play 1 or more cards this turn, 2 more cards this turn, it gets a second effect, which for this, its second effect is it can tap and produce any will. So it's basically a way to mana ramp us, so we can out ramp our opponent, basically, in terms of will, so we can get our plays out. So she's really good at that thing. And just so everyone knows, she does count as the second card. So if you played a card first turn and then you played her in, she does count as that second card. So just to let y'all know that. Okay, so that's it. How long are we getting into the video? 14 minutes? Okay, we're gonna have to speed this up. Okay, and now let's get to our final resonators, and I guess you can say our second one, Con. We run basically the myth engine. So we have a way to cheat these in, but they're high cost, but they have really good effects. So with Gilgamesh, We run 2 of him. Basically, he's a 4 cost, 2 win, 2 void, 700 attack, 1000 defense. His effect says if you have 3 more treasure items, he can't be destroyed. Right. His second part of his effect that's continuous is he gains 100 attack for every treasure item you have. And then he has a resonance ability, which basically says when a wind magic stone gets played to the field, he can produce any will. So again, that mana ramping. We want to out ramp our opponent. We want to have a field and hand presence. We want to make sure that our opponent, at the end of the day, isn't going to do anything. We're going to always have more advantage over them. So that's the whole point of why these are in here. Then we run 1 Ea, the god of water. He's a 4 cost, 2 blue, 2 void, 1000 attack, 1000 defense, a myth. When he comes to the field, he automatically has barrier. He gains 500. He gains 500, and if you have 7 more wind magic stones, he basically is unblockable. So he becomes a 15/15 unblockable. So even our opponent has a flyer or has a resonator even bigger than this, and they can kill it, they can't block when he's attacking. So basically, we're just getting free 1500s on our opponent once we have 7 magic stones. And he has a resonant ability. Every time a water magic stone comes into play, you draw a card. So again, that hand advantage. And you'll notice when we get into the spells that we want to make sure our hand never goes empty. And then we run Odin, the Optimate one. What the hell is this card called? Odin, the Omniscient. Just fuck it, we'll just call him Odin the Badass. So Odin the Badass is a 6 cost, 1 dark, 1 green, 4 void, 1000 attack, 1000 defense. I know you're saying, oh, 6, how are you going to get this out? But we can actually get him out by our turn 4, and you'll see how. But basically, if we tap a magic stone to produce a will, he basically produces the same will. So if we produce green, he produces green. That's basically it. That's all he does. He's kind of shitty, but he's just a big body that can help us just keep ramping. That's all y'all need to know about him. Okay, so we got the resonators out the way. Let's get into the spells. You think I maybe should do like how to some combos after this deck? You think it's getting too long? Because I think most videos usually 20, 30.
I get max.
Yeah, we'll try to speed this through. Okay, so we run 1 Reunion of the Sisters. It's a 3 cost, 2 blue, 1 void. Basically, if we have a water resonator and a light resonator, we can use both of his effects. Its first effect is we can draw 2 cards, which is what we're mainly using it for, but we do run light resonators, so we can use both of his effect. And then the other effect is you can bounce a card back. You can bounce a resonator from your opponent's field back to their hand. So it's pretty good, but it's kind of a hefty cost for what it does. So we only run 1 of it. We don't really want to see too many of it. We then run 2 Dawn of the Earths. Now this card is really, really good. I mean, really good. Like if you're gonna get into Force Will, you probably want to get you these copies if you're running a water light deck. So basically, it's a quick cast. So you can play on your opponent turn, and basically it says that you choose 1. This turn, if a resonator would be put into your opponent's field without being played, remove it from the game instead, and draw a card, or recover a target resonator you control. It gains +2/+2 and barrier until the end of the turn. Draw a card, or remove all magic stones, non-J ruler cards your opponent controls with a total cost of 0 from the game. Draw a card. So as you notice, you're gonna always draw a card, hand advantage. But basically, the last part, because I know some people are like, what does it mean by non-magic stone? Basically, this card doesn't work on magic stones, and it doesn't work on your J-Ray. It basically works on additions and resonators. But basically, anything with 0 cost on the field, it gets rid of it. Really, this was used for some cards that were used during another cluster, another part of the game, which were additions basically that had 0 cost to them, but they have like cycled out, so they're not in the game no more. But I'm quite sure there'll be other cards with 0 cost to them in the future, most likely. But it's a pretty good card. It's good to recover, so we can do more damage to our opponent, and it's good in case our opponent tries to cheat in a card, we can get rid of their card for good. So it's pretty good. And we draw a card, so no matter what, you're going to always draw a card. That's the selling point. You're going to draw a card. Um, then we will run two Kaguya's decisions. A lot of people don't actually run this card, but I think it's pretty good, especially if you're gonna run a lot of treasure items in this deck. In a Kaguya build, you should run this card. But it's a 2 cost, 1 blue, 1 void. It's it's not a quick cast. It basically says you look at the top 4 cards of your deck. If there's a treasure item with a cost 3 or lower, or you can put it onto your field. The rest go to the bottom of the deck in any order. So basically it just cheats in our treasure items for it, especially the 3 costs, making it basically practically cheap. Basically paying for itself is the way you should put it. But we run 2 because we don't want to see too many of it because while I do run a lot of treasure, I'm not enough to be running 3s and 4 we then run 3 Kaguya, not Kaguya, Pharaoh Summoning. It's a 2 cost, quick cast, Wind and a Light. Basically, you search your deck for any resonators. So basically, all of our resonators are searchable, basically. But if this is the second card we played, we can basically recover a magic stone. So it's really good. So it basically becomes a 1 cost. Basically, so it's really good. Again, making sure that we utilize our magic stones effectively, and always make sure that we always have magic stones open to counter our opponent during their turn. So this is where how we summon the big ass myths come out. We run 3 spinning myths. It's a 3 cost, 2 green, 1 void, and basically says you can put in a myth resonator from your hand onto the field. Torrent, if it's the second card that was played, you can put the top magic stone from your magic stone deck onto the field. And it's not rested or nothing. So it's basically it pays for itself. So it becomes a 2 cost basically. So a good card. I recommend it. Then we run 3 million bonds. It's a 2 cost, quick cast, blue in the water, and basically you can use both of these effects if you have a wind resonator and a water resonator. So basically it cancels a spell. That's what all it does. So resonators, when they're being summoned, they count as spells. So they can be negated. So you can negate a summon with these cards. So you can negate quick cast spells, regular spell chance, and they're just done. But it has a second effects where if you have a wind or a water resonator, you can either put a treasure item that's a cost 3 or lower from your hand onto the field, or you can put you can draw a card. But because we run water and green resonators, we're going to be using effects. So basically it completely pays itself completely and gives us advantage. So it's pretty good. We run 3, not 4. Because it's a good card, but we have ways of like recycling them back into the deck, so it's not like something we really have to run 4 of. We run, and this is where we get to the treasure item. So we run 4 First of the Moons. It's a treasure item right there, and it's a moon. So this is the moon card that's going to make our Kaguya the Lunar Researcher basically a 2 cost instead of a 3 cost. Basically it protects all other additions that you have, including itself. If you have 2 of these on the field, they kind of protect each other, so it creates a lock. But yes, you basically protect your treasure items, your addition treasure items. When this card becomes rested, you do -200 to a target resonator until the end of the turn. So with Kaguya, as you remember, she rests treasure items to use her abilities on her J ruler side. So if you use her first ability to do a -100 to your opponent's resonator and you rest this, now that's -300. So you can basically make your opponent's resonators become basically with 0 attack. So they're not going to do too much of anything. And it protects your treasure items, so it makes sure that any like addition hate isn't going to do. They're going to have to do a lot of stuff to try to get rid of that to hit your actual additions, so they can then hit your J ruler or screw up your combos. So it's really good. We run 4 of those. Then we run the meat and butter of the deck, which helps the win con go off. We run 6 water kimonos of 12 parts. It's a treasure item edition, and it's a 1 cost, 1 blue. Basically there's 2 effects. One of them doesn't really matter because we're not doing it, but I'll explain it when I get to it. We can tap this card and bestow it to a resonator. That resonator gets 100. And then the second effect is if you bestow 12 of these onto a resonator, you win the game. But we don't use that alternate win con. But basically, if you have 3 of these stack each other. So this one will stack for these 3. This one will stack for these 3, including it'll stack itself, and then it'll stack the other 2. So you have this 3. This will become 300. This will become 300. This will become 300. They become 900 altogether. So your resonator will get that 900 boost. And with Lunar the researcher, Kaguya the lunar researcher, because she says every time we bestow a card to her, she recovers. We bestow these to her. So when you attack her the first time, because she has flying, you attack with her, you bestow this, recover. Attack again, bestow, recover. And basically, to the point when you get to about 3 or 4, your opponent is going to be dead usually. So we run 6 of those. And then we run the last treasure item of our deck. We run one Miracle Millennium Medicine. It's a 1-cost treasure item edition for green, and basically we can banish it, and then we can put up to 3 non-magic stone cards from a single graveyard. The owner of those cards shuffle them into their deck. So basically, we can use this on our opponent, but we really want to use this because if you use a lot of draw and searching, your deck's going to thin out, and some people may just try to stall you out so your deck thins out. So what we'll do is we'll target it, and then we'll target maybe one of our resonators and one of our spells, shuffle it back into our deck. So basically you create this infinite lock where you don't run out of cards basically. So it's really good, but we only run one of it. It's not really that good, and we don't want to see a lot of it, but it's a really good one of. Okay, so that's basically the deck. It's getting pretty long, so I'm not going to go into combos. I may do another video to explain how like the combos work in this deck, but that's basically it. If you like the video, hit that like, subscribe, right? And yeah, I'll catch you Sunday when the next video comes up. Okay, bye.